Okay. Now I wonder. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you'll probably have to see it.
Well, why don't you, do you want to film and then I'll ask the questions, or would you like vice versa?
You're more dressed for it than I am.
Go ahead. Are you all set up? Okay. The things we didn't think of
Are you gonna grab another chair?
I'm just going to share this thing with you.
There's one person watching.
You've got 3 minutes.
Whenever you're ready.
2 minutes. I'm taking all my time.
We got 2. Okay.
Okay. So sorry for the delay. That seems to always happen. Welcome to the Piikani live stream forum. So everybody who RSVP'd got a kind of note on how things are going to go, as well as a list of some of the sample questions that we're going to be asking, so you can kind of pre-prep your question or your answers. So since we didn't get a lot of candidates, we're going to switch the timing. So you will be given 5 minutes to answer each of your questions. You don't have to take all of the 5 minutes if you don't want to. You know, if you think that it's a question that only needs, 1 or 2 minutes or even one, then that's fine. But if you'd like to elaborate a little bit more, then that time is there for you. Let's see. So we are being also live streamed on YouTube and Facebook right now. We are also recording this, so we will be posting the videos later on Facebook and YouTube as well, so you can kind of reference those for your candidacy. So what's going to happen is I'm going to choose a name out of this bowl, and then you will be asked to come up here, take a seat in the hot seat, and then you will choose 5 pieces of paper, and then there'll be a small number on the paper, and there'll be a question that will correlate to that number. If you need me to repeat the question at any time, you can ask. Let's see. So after you're finished your time in the hot seat, you can feel free to leave, or you can stay to kind of see what the other candidates are saying as well. Any questions so far? Yes?
Can I see the sample?
Yeah, I can give you a copy of it once we call the first candidate. Hopefully it's not you. Okay, all right.
Will there be someone, the timer will let us know?
Yes, yeah, I'll be timing as well. Okay. Okay, Anita. Coincidentally, the first person that showed up today. Can you come and take a seat?
I feel bad for whoever's watching this. I'm just shaking.
Okay. Okay, so you can choose your first number out of the bowl. There's my first. It is number 10. Okay, and then as we go along, then I'll ask you to pre-budget.
Do we get that 1 minute to introduce ourselves?
Oh yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that. Go ahead.
All right. So, okay, my name is Anita, and I'm the daughter of Reg, Awagasina, and Rosemary Akwanamaki. I'm the mother to Nochitsa de Bequin, my son Anthony. His father comes from the Sioux Valley, Manitoba group. It's been great to be back here in Piikani, Pagan, Brockett, home of the poor high-tanners. As I was driving south from Mohkinstsis to Calgary, I saw Chief Mountain pass the famous UNESCO World Heritage Site Hit Smashed in Buffalo Jump, where I had the honor of working with the late Walter Croshoe, heard stories from the late Sam Goodrider, and sang at the drum with my late uncle Leopard. Amazing Grace at the drum for tourists. I stopped in to see my parents They had fresh homemade napai and fried bread. And I just want to say oki, and oki to those live streaming on Facebook as well, and the people that have come here to see candidates.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so your question is, how are you willing to fight corruption within the nation? This includes interdepartmental corruption and nepotism. Also, given that most of Piikani are related to each other, how would you clarify what nepotism is?
Those are good questions.
Project the voice a little bit.
Sure. To understand what the fight is, we need to understand how was this handled historically. We will provide options that have worked and what has not worked and why. Departments have memorandum of understanding, contracts, funding requirements, policies, work plans, goals to support best practice, and in some cases there are boards. Could we invite leaders from other nations to provide external oversight, declaring a conflict of interest if there is one, or related to, or in business with chief and council and members, ethics of leadership, sticking to our policies. Those are what dictates what we're supposed to do. Charges to be laid, we have in regards to the concept of the thing of the practice when we're looking at corruption. The interesting thing here is that as leadership, it's really about governance. And when you look at that, setting up governance to fight corruption, and nepotism is also stated within our policies.
Okay. Okay, continue on now. Thank you. Okay, 41. Do you believe that spirituality is important to have while being a member of Chief and Council? If so, what are your ideas to incorporate the Piikani values?
The spirit of Piikani is strong. Our ways of existing from when Creator blew life into us goes back beyond the written documents. That tells the Western world who we really are as Nitsitapi. To say Piikani written constitution is the absolute solution would be compromising the buffalo from being hidden by the people. When we talk about not being the buffalo and about the story and the connection to our community, we're really looking at those pieces and what they mean to us as Nitsitapis. How can we say spirit is Piikani's values when we really have to look at what was created beforehand in order to move forward as a group? Thank you.
Okay, 22. Do you believe that the band ranch should be open to the younger generation within Piikani, and what kind of experience would you like to see coming from that?
Yes, could you repeat it one more time? Just project your voice a
Oh,
little
okay.
bit. Some of the L's are a little hard here.
Okay.
This is the next question.
Do you believe that the band ranch should be open to the younger generation within Piikani, and what kind of experience would you like to see coming from that?
Yes, this can be a stepping stone that we are passionate about. Ranching, farming, mentoring programs. With quality ranchers who have become mentors within our community. We're using mentors with good habits. The youth will want to be there. Lessons with life lessons, pairing youth with mature mentors to support trust. Trust will develop between ranching, farmers and trainees. They need to both get something out of this. Leadership, partnership, departments, and funding will need to work out the logistics. Land, self-sufficiency, history, are possibilities to create a foundation for good role modeling. So when we really look at the concept of the band ranch and opening to the younger generations within Piikani, experience is one of the things that comes out when we look at that. And one of the things I think about is The Lost Harvest, the book on the Lost Harvest, and stories that I've heard from people. My grandfather, Julius English, the late Julius English, never told me the stories, but I recall when there were times where we took our cattle to one of the biggest fairs in the United States, and we ranked in the top parts of those. And those are components and pieces of our history that we need to include and be proud of and support the next generation if that's the direction and that's the support they want to go into. And it also support the concept of Piikani land, if we really looked at that, because that's connected to the land, well, it's connected to us as people. Thank you.
Thank you. We have 2 more questions. There. What kind of transparency can we see from you when a controversial decision is made?
Can I get you to read that to me one more time?
Yeah. What kind of transparency can we see from you when a controversial decision is made?
Okay, I can't find my answer to that one. There we go. So, when we look at transparency and what kind of transparency that you can see from me as a leader, I think transparency, and we have to be careful when we say transparency, because when we look at the transparency of that, we're looking at it from the written form. So financial information about travel, those things, yes, they've been posted before, and being able to create that practice. Yet at the same time, as a leader, we sit on different boards, and those are not included in the concept of transparency. We might just have that transparency as leaders within the concept of chief and council. But if we're sitting on other boards, those need to be part of the transparency. So as a leader, I would be transparent in those aspects of things to understand that. And also, one of the things that when we look as leaders, if we're traveling and we're going places, it's really important that that travel be for the betterment of the Piikani Nation. Not for workshops, not for enhancements. Those are things that our management and our community members deserve. As leaders, if it's going to benefit our nation and it's going to be something that's going to move in that direction, that's really important. And minimizing and making sure that there's a standard by which we as leadership are creating so that other people we can role model to that are employed on the reserve, and the ones that are employed off the reserve can be proud of us as leaders within Piikani. Thank you.
Okay.
This is the last one?
Last one. Really mix it in there.
Okay.
What policies would you like to see updated, and how do you plan to go about doing so?
I'm just not even going to look at that. So when we talk about policies, those are components that are within the practice of work. Those are things that afford an employer the ability to understand how to do the work, when to do the work, and what it looks like. And it gives them that safety venue to be able to follow through with work. When we look at those come from the people that are working in those environments. Those come from the ones that are within those fields. And adjustments that are required to be made come from a governance system that chief and council would support when we're looking at things. One of the things I have to say here is when someone says, you know what, just doesn't seem right, that should be validated just as much as someone that has a master's degree, a bachelor's degree, and in those areas. Because when I look at education and experience, we look at people that have created Facebook, the Coca-Cola company, those individuals, one of them didn't even graduate from high school, yet he's successful in running a multi-million-dollar business in the world. When we look at those policies need to support the thought process and the safety mechanisms of our employability with our Piikani Nation and provide safety for them. So I would work closely with understanding what the policies are and allowing the managers and the departments to work within the practices so that we can create something that's stronger and people can be proud to say, you know what, this is our resource development piece and I really enjoy working here. The young people, when I went out on my visits, the young people said, you know, it's really embarrassing when some of our people that we go to school with come and work in Piikani, and when they work in Piikani, they talk about never wanting to come back to work there because they didn't feel that safety thing. That's one of our most valued resources, are our youth. And if they're saying that to us, then we need to listen and we need to include that be a part of what we're looking at when we move forward. And when you're talking about hiding the buffalo, will not be in the buffalo we're hitting in the mountain, not be supported us in being able to find where the buffalo were and give it back to the people. And that's what we need to do as leaders. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Should I applaud? Jokes.
All right, our next candidate is Franklin Wolfdale. I hope you got a good look at the list.
My name is Franklin Wolfdale. I'm presently running for council. One of the qualities I have, I believe, is I'm very direct. I won't lie to you. I won't steal from you. I'll be open about a lot of things. The way I view it is that it's the individual that makes the council and the community that helps him get there. I don't have all the answers, but what I do, I have a heart and I have ears to listen to people that have opinions about matters. I believe that Piikani should be here in 10, 20, 50, 100 years from now. That's what I believe in, honestly, is that we have to maintain what we have here so our children and generations can enjoy what we have. So those are some of the qualities I will bring to council, and it's my first time, so I hope I do get elected. I will bring a very, very honest individual to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Already. Let's see. Second last page. Okay, what kind of supports can we see from you as a leader for the two-spirited people in our community? We have many members who are LGBTQ2 with very little support and who are ostracized within the community. How are you going to help this vulnerable group?
I've had friends all my life in the two-spirit. I've never judged these people, never. I have respected them from when I was a child to today, and that will not change. It's because these individuals have a right to be themselves, not to what society wants from them. The way I feel is that there are people on this reserve that do hurt these people, but we must remember, no matter what you are, you're still Piikani. You're still here. And these individuals, it seems like they're pushed out from us, from our reserve. They don't feel comfortable. But with me, I believe that everybody has a right to be on our reserve for what they are. I would just let them be themselves and treat them as individuals, not as second-class citizens. Treat them as human beings, as we would treat our brothers and our neighbors. Those are the things I would bring to these people. For me to stand up here and say that what I would do for them, we have to let them tell us what they want us to do for them. Because we can't dictate to people, do this, do that. We have to listen to them and say, what ideas do you have for us so we could move on? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next one. Okay, number 9. Second page. Yes. Do you see Piikani having a hand in the recent decriminalization of marijuana or in a hemp field? How, why, and why not? Just as a part of the question, is there a possibility for farming or no, sorry, that's a completely different question.
My bad.
Let me repeat the question.
Project your voice a little bit more.
Okay. Do you see Piikani having a hand in the recent decriminalization of marijuana or in a hemp field? How, why, or why not?
I believe my daughter stays in Port Superior, Manitoba. Her husband comes from a reserve. There's 3-4 reserves that got together that are presently growing marijuana down there. Piikani, what we have here is a resource more than a lot of people is the water. And that water is the key for us to grow. With marijuana becoming legal, we see how much the federal government has made. In the first month, they made something like $23 million. So we are given an opportunity to have this brought to our reserve through leadership and also through membership. We've got to work on this to move together. If we hire the right people, and we have to realize this too, is that Piikani, we have never grown marijuana or anything. We get individuals that are specialized in these fields to manage us, so that when we get to that point where we can manage ourselves and move on. We have the space here on the reserve. We have it on the east side or right around town site. We have the space, and I believe that this here is an opportunity for Piikani. We cannot let it pass, and we have to keep our membership informed as we move along with it. We can't just shut them out. We're going to do this. We have to have their input. We let them know transparency or whatever people call it these days, to let them see that this here will help the nation in many areas. Financially, it will make us grow. Economically, it'll make us grow, and we could help people on the outside with these resources that we get from this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next one. Okay. What qualifications do you believe candidates should have that differ from our current policy?
I think our policies today, because membership does not see these policies, we are left in the dark. Can you read that question?
Yeah, for sure. What qualifications do you believe candidates should have that differ from our current policy?
Election policy.
Sitka passed a referendum. And their referendum stated that no person can run for council if they don't have a high school diploma. My father, Nelson Smalley, and Chief Jim shot both sides. Leo, pretty young man. These people did not have degrees, but yet they prospered their reserve at those times. It shows to me that if you have common sense and believe what decisions you're going to do to prosper the nation, it will better us. With the policies presently today, like I stated, we don't see these policies. It seems like all information we don't see, and whoever gets in council gets to see these policies. They've changed. When I was younger, we used to vote in the fall time for elections. Today, we're voting into the new year. 17, 18-year-olds can vote on a referendum, but they cannot vote when it comes to their election for whoever's going to be their leaders. That there's one policy I wouldn't mind changing for the fact these individuals have up to 18 to decide who they want for leaders, not just when a referendum comes and they come through the back. Leadership will come through the back door and have these individuals vote. One thing I'll tell you is that I opposed 2002 settlement agreement viciously. I got petitioned I had over 600 signatures for this thing to stop. We went to vote and we won, no one. So what happened was that at that time, chief and council turned around. They went through the back door and they told the 18-year-olds, you guys can vote. Those 18-year-olds were not given complete information, and they voted, and that's how it tilted to the yes to win. So it's those kind of policies we have to have people to see where we stand on issues. And that was just one issue, one policy that has to change. Thank you.
Oh, there's actually two in here.
Which one?
Okay, so in previous years, we've had hard winters, and when our own workers were not able to make it to everyone within reasonable time, outside help has been called in. Will we see more people hired throughout the winter to address the issue of not enough workers to keep up with the snow, or can we hire off reserve to address this issue?
I'm really glad I'm answering this question. Where I live on the west side of Brockton, my road is horrible. It was okay. We never had no problems, and then they did development on it. These individuals that fixed that road, today, this past winter, we rarely got that road cleared. My father-in-law, Mark Strikeswood, is the oldest male on this reserve. We would have to shovel the road for him. Who is responsible for that road? Was it the person who fixed and redid the road, or is it our public works? There's a dispute there right now. And while these people dispute and leadership doesn't do anything about it, it's me, it's Pam, it's Mark, it's Blendine. We're the ones who pay the consequences of a decision that is not being brought down to clear that road. I don't believe we should hire outside people. We have our own people here with their equipment, backhoe, or 4x4, to help with these things. Years ago, I remember growing up, I used to see Hector Jackson, Skipper Warrior. They were doing clearing roads. And they would be working at 2, 3, 4 in the morning so people could have access to leave their home. We ran a medical transportation for many years, and we had to do dialysis operations, and a lot of those roads were clear, you know, and that showed to me at that time of how much our public works was working. But due to what I don't know, and again, transparency, information is not giving out. How come we're living like this, struggling out there, shoveling our way out? People, 10, 20 people get stuck on that road. A lot of times they come over, I gotta go out there, dress right up and shovel. Because they come and ask me, and I don't want them stuck there. I'll do my best. So we need more information. If we're gonna move ahead to asking white non-native to come in and clear those roads, well, we need to know more information why we can't do it ourselves. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And last question. Okay, in the recent election, one of the biggest issues on reserve that's been brought up is the lack of post-secondary funding provided by the federal government that has not increased its funding. Post-secondary did not receive any top-up funds from the $50 million settlement. What do you believe can be done to help Piikani students wishing to attend post-secondary get monies or alternate funding?
I sat on the Board of Education. I sat on the post-secondary committee. And I'll personally tell you, it's hard. As the cost of living is going up, our money is staying the same. So what do? Do you increase the money for individuals to move off to reserve? Even a $50 increase affects people that are not going to get funding. So I've struggled with this question many times. We've asked people to go on the outside, to apply for grants, to apply for school loans, because we know, and I know that there is not dollars over there to be funding more students than we should be. We have agencies on our reserve that can help out. We have youth in education. I don't know the policies over there. I've never sat on that board or anything, but I believe if we pull resources together, we can help these individuals to go to school. We could pay for little things like food, bus passes. These things are a real struggle for people that are in the city. We talk about our resources here. One time we would have, Christmas would come, we would get turkey, stuff like that. Today it doesn't happen. So what happened to those dollars? I'd like to brush up on another issue while I'm at here, is that we have a card in our pocket that we can increase things. We could ask for federal government province for a lot of things. The LNID needs to be fixed. We could use those resources to help us with these problems with our youth. I feel that because we've come to a standstill with our education, we could only fund so many students, and the waiting list is very long. And we talked about a bubble back then, because there's bubbles that are happening today. We are seeing more students graduate today than we did in previous times in our history. So with my thing is that we need to look for those resources. If it comes from our reserve, let it be, because we need to educate our people. Our young people, even our older people, need to be educated. I would try my best to look for funding, and it is hard. It is hard to ask the federal government for more dollars, and they will not budge. That's reality. They won't budge, but we could turn around and look for resources on on reserve to help with the region.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you very much.
I think it's on Facebook Live. It's YouTube?
Ira said the sound isn't that great.
I'm sorry, but my cord is real short.
Just unplug it. It's just a
I'm really sorry, guys. I'm trying.
Great. Okay. Have any other candidates shown up or would like to take part? Oh, okay. Hold on a second. Where's my pad?
Headed out. Are you getting texts from people? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, he was emailing me too.
Oh, good.
All caps.
All caps. Yeah. Speak up, eh?
Write down your name. No.
No.
We're hoping for a sound.
Answer your questions. Project a little. Some of them don't hear very well. And just, yeah, keep projecting your voice.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm sorry I'm so close to you.
Yeah, okay, so go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, Piikani Nadana Suwatsis, Rick Yellowmore. My parents are Ed and Dorothy Yellowmore. Born and raised here on Piikani. And just before we go any further, I'd just like to send out my condolences to the families in our community struggling with the loss of their loved ones. I know it's a difficult time for them. And our hearts and prayers are with those dealing with such a difficult time today. Mainly my background is in finance and business. That's where the majority of my skills are, but it's not limited to that. I do have a very, reliable skill set in other areas as well. And so I'm very capable of serving the nation, and that's, I guess, my heart's intent is to ask for the Piikani Nation to vote to keep me in mind, because with the capabilities that I have, I can certainly help the nation in, doesn't matter the area. I have the skills and experience to be able to make a difference. Thank you.
Okay. All right, do you want to choose your first question?
Like you're making bannock.
Okay. Many community members believe that chief and council are overpaid. What are your thoughts on the pay and additional pay for things like travel that are given?
Thanks. That's a very good question. That's one that's been very much of a hot topic on social media these days. I guess that's two sides to every issue. On the one side, there's, for me, in my experience, the ones that perform the best deserve the pay. Pretty simple. And the ones that don't show the results, they don't usually, in the real world, they usually don't keep the job. So that's a pretty cut and dry situation. For myself, I'm a little surprised at the compensation level of the Piikani politicians. But again, I'm just one voice. I have my concerns there. Again, it goes back to what I just said, that I think if the performance is there, then the pay is deserved. And if the performance, the results aren't there, then it's not. And I'll leave it to the people to decide where the leadership fits into that. People need to be paid, they need to be compensated for their time, I get that. But when you look at the lives that some of our people are dealing with and having to struggle with the challenges they struggle with, especially off reserve, it's not just here. It's a tough sell. to see politicians with that kind of compensation and people that they represent may not even have a choice of a meal that day. So I think if the results are there, fair compensation, not overly compensated, and if the results aren't there, then we need to have some mechanisms in place to address that sort of situation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay. Another of the bigger issues that's been brought up is the lack of communication between Chief and Council and the community. How are you willing to keep up communication with our community if you are voted in?
Well, thanks again, that's a great question. Communication is vital to, I guess, the human condition. If we don't let people know what the situation is, then how do we expect to get any, worthwhile feedback on what those issues might be? One of the things that I would do, and would have no problem doing if it was my choice, would to have all council meetings televised via closed-circuit TV, made available through the internet. Members, for example, could just use your treaty number, your status number, to log on. Then they can view all proceedings within the comfort of their home if they wish. With phone, doesn't matter in this day and age. That would take care of a lot of the transparency issues that have come up. A newsletter, really surprised that that's not happening already. As well as if the Chief and Council take it upon themselves, make it a priority for themselves to communicate with not just their constituents, the people that voted them in, but all the members that they represent, then the people will get the information they need through the different sources, and also get the different perspectives on those issues from the politicians as well. But without the communication, it's pretty tough to move ahead. You just look at your own personal relationships. How good are they without regular positive communication? It's pretty tough to get anything done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You can choose your next question. Make sure you speak up. Sorry. Here, jokes. Okay, there are community members who call the police, often releasing names of drug dealers and bootleggers in Piikani, but feel as if they are met with deaf ears. How would you work with the police to address this issue?
Well, it's another great question. I think with this situation, to just pass it off to the hands of the police is, in a way, it's passing the buck. This is our community. These are our people, our relatives, our loved ones. So we need to find a solution that allows them to progress in their lives to the point where they don't need to use that stuff or rely on that stuff. And if we can get enough people to that point, then there's going to be no need for the people that supply that stuff to these people. By going to the police, hey, I get it. Tough issues, need help. Yeah, you need to do that when there's danger and safety issues involved, for sure. But as a community, we can't abandon our people along the way. We are only as strong as our weakest individual. So if you take that into consideration, then we're not a very strong community. Because look at how some of our people are suffering and the struggle that they are involved in every single day. That's where we need to do the work, is to help them progress in their lives so that they will no longer need the substance, and then there's no longer need for the people that supply that substance. I know it's not the easy answer, it's not the quick answer, but to me, that's the answer that's going to solve the problem. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we've got 2 more questions.
I'll just hand them to her.
Make sure this one first. Okay. Do you think that referendums should take 1,000 votes to pass, or take less than 1,000 votes to pass? Why or why not?
Well, I guess the simple answer is no. I think if it's going to be a referendum, it should go by the 50% plus 1. That's the majority, if we're going to do it that way. Within our past, our traditional leadership, they went by consensus, so it was unanimous in that sense. And that was the strength of our people. The wise leadership and the decision-making process that they used to look after the people in the territory, the resources, etc. So that's, for me, it's pretty cut and dry. Whatever the voting age is, whatever that number is, and it's 50% of that plus 1, if that passes, that's a majority, we gotta respect that. If we want another system, then we need to discuss it and work on it to have it in place. But until that time comes, or we're at that place, then to me, it's the 50% plus 1. So if there's only 3 eligible voters and 2 of them vote, then it passes. Pretty simple. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, last question. Within Piikani, the state of the roads are seen as very bad and worsen during winter. How would you go about working with council and the departments to improve the state of accessibility within Piikani?
To quote my mother, I'm gonna go get after it. This is a real hot button for me. And let me back it up a bit by, with all these social issues that we're discussing, some of them so urgent as far as needing to be addressed in that. The one thing that I never hear anybody talking about is how are we going to pay for these things? All of these things come at a cost. The government is not going to fund them. Post-secondary, perfect example. So until we're in a position where we, from ourselves, work together, pull together, where we go after the business opportunities, develop them, and they're bringing in millions and millions of revenue a year, then we're in a position to address these issues. Another way to do it is through negotiations with the government and make them the hot button issues. For example, the weir negotiation that's coming up. I would tie in the secondary road going through our reserve with that negotiation and make them pave it as part of that deal. Because look at how many semis are going by on that road every day. I live closest to the road, I deal with the dust. It's just fortunate we haven't had a major accident yet. But the thing that bothers me the most is all that wealth being generated by people who look down on us and whipping through our community every day, no respect for other people on the roads, us locals that have to use them, forcing us off at times almost into the ditch to allow these semis to pass, and all of that wealth that's being generated out there, and we participate in none of it, but yet we have to let them drive through and not have any say in that. When I was 10 years old, and not even, I heard my parents talking about this road being paved. I turned 56 this past summer. It's still not paved. How long are we going to allow the government to keep backtracking on these promises that they've made to us. Look at what they've taken from us. How long are we going to stand, sit, and do nothing while our people suffer? It's time as the leadership that we stand together and we stand strong. Look at our traditional leadership in the past. Look at what they did for us. The largest indigenous territory in North and South America. That's what that leadership did for us. And they got us to Treaty 7. And Treaty 7 got us half of that wealth. And today, where is it? Where is that wealth for us that belongs to us, rightfully? The white man isn't going to give it to us. We have to take it. We have to work together. We have to be strong. And we got to just go and get it. I'm the kind of leader that is not shy. I don't feel like I have to ask permission to take back what is ours, what belongs to us. Put me in that position and I will do it for us. Again.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming out there for listening.
Okay. How much is left in there? Lots? Okay, good.
I think we have enough questions for all the candidates, plus one. Jokes.
Terry? Terry Provost? I guess I'd have to announce that.
Can you hold this one and get water?
So the camera can hear you good, the hard of hearing.
Yell when you talk. So you are given 1 minute to introduce yourself and your candidacy and anything else that you'd like to add.
Just 1 minute.
Just 1 minute.
And then we'll go on to the questions, and you're
Okay.
given 5 minutes to answer each of the questions.
Okay.
Okay? Go ahead.
Okay, everyone. Happy New Year's. New school called Canuck KP. Terry Provost. My mom is Dial Gelhorn Provost. Cool. My dad is Teddy Provost. From the Gelhorn Provost family, so I guess I'm from Piikani anyway. My background is social work and education. I got a degree in social work, and my brother Real came in. I got my degree in social work in 1997. I got my Master of Education in 2011. UC U of L. I've been doing social programming work in Rocket for the last 11 years. Took a little time off to go up north and work up north and make money, but Piikani is where I'm from, and that's what I love to do, and here I am.
Okay.
Oh, married to Dimples, 36 years. I mean, shacked up, still waiting to see.
Okay. Okay, so you can choose your questions in there. You're given 5 questions. 47. Oh, this is actually a really good question for you. Okay. Age groups 12 to 17 need more programming throughout the summer. How would you go about working with departments to create new programming so every child and teen has something to do during the summer months?
Summer months. Well, Board of Education would be one. More funding, negotiate more funding. Summer programming, Youth Med, Vicky. In the past, I've gone to Vicky and we set up a basketball night and a volleyball night at the gym. 3 nights a week. We just went individual to individual. The basketball team actually showed lots of initiative, and they started $1 a night. They just all threw in a loonie and they played basketball. They paid for one night. We got Youth Net to pay for a night, and then we went to some of the chief and council back then, and myself and a couple other workers, and we all chipped in, and it was easy enough. Easy said, easy done.
Okay. All right, next question.
No, it's a G, jokes.
Okay. Do you believe there is capacity for advisory boards for Piikani departments? Do you believe that this is needed, and why or why not?
I guess you can go down the road, middle of the road with this question, but I'm going to go for the yes. You do need advisory boards. Just simply keep managers, program directors on target. Keep them within their guidelines. Make sure qualified people are in those positions. Yes, I'd agree with that. Like who would they be? I'd say the general public. People with the education, people, our elders for their culture, and just the average Joe. We need the average Joe's involvement in the community more often.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, next question. Okay. If you had a 10-year plan to clean 75% of the drugs from our community, how would you go about it?
Well, again, my background is social work. I believe individual counseling, group counseling would be the best step. Like I said, I've been doing this type of work since 1997. Social work I did social work for the provincial government, child welfare. And with them, yeah, we did need a plan. And the underlying issue was always healing from trauma. The underlying issue is always the trauma, grief and recovery. And once you deal with those issues, sometimes that person can move on. I'm not saying 100% of the time, because there are issues of adult FAS now in our community, and those ones require a little bit more intense involvement. But a 10-year program would include the drug dealers. I'd say we'll deal with that source there because there's deep underlying issues of trauma and hurt in those situations. And again, I've been working, I worked last summer at PPCS, Alcohol Services, and I'd say, well, 100% of the people I was involved with all had underlying trauma, grief, and loss. So we deal with those issues. If we could get more resources into those programming, more resources into addiction, you'll start to see a change. It's not going to happen overnight, but it will at least start the ball rolling. Okay?
Okay, sounds good. What do you know about the cow and plow settlement, and if Piikani has a stake in it?
Cow and plow, I'm not familiar with that.
I want my cow.
What's
Jokes.
that?
I said, I want my cow. Jokes.
Would you like another question then?
Yeah, let's have it.
Okay, I can take another. How would you address lateral violence within the community and the Piikani departments?
That's a tough one. You can't point fingers. You can't say he did. You can't say she did. They did. You have to hold that mirror up to yourself and look at that situation. Again, individual. Each individual will have to be trained and be aware of that, because lateral violence root is in colonialism. We are a colonized people, and we see the direct effects of that. And again, like what I heard earlier, the white people are not going to come in and save us. We have to do that to ourselves. And you look at the extreme case of that is Rwanda genocide, and I can see that in Piikani happening. It's us and them, you know, them that side, this side. What we need to do is we need to work together and overcome that issue. And lateral violence is really deep. Right there, there you go. Talk about lateral violence. Okay?
Okay, sounds good. Last question.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
6.
Okay. Do you have a plan or given any thought to helping departments like PBOE, PYEF, Social Services, Child and Family Services find alternative grants or funding to help their clientele?
Well, again, I worked in social services, and yeah, there are grants and there is funding. Over at PPCS, the same thing. You just have to know where to find them, and where to look, who to write proposals to. At the same time, you have the Indian Affairs guys coming in, sending in natives as their representatives, and them coming in and pretty well dictating what we do and how we spend or how we develop our services and where it's focused to. We need to get away from that and say, no, this is us, this is what we need, this is what we need to step forward to. No more of this guiding colonialism, no more of this structure that's set up to hold us down. We need to step forward as a people, and we need to step into those and recover those services and use those to our gain. And again, social work, education. We need to heal our people so we can go on to the next generation.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Okay, just wanted to say condolences to Floyd's family, especially Tiki. So, okay.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Close this door properly.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, Jay, you can take your minute to introduce yourself.
My name is Che Lidley. I'm from Piikani. My parents are Conrad and Sharon Lidley. My grandparents are the elder Jim Manybears and Esther Lidley. And my mom's from Siksika. My grandparents are the old Jim Manybears, and I'm related to that family. My background is in science. I hold a multidisciplinary Bachelor of Science degree in Geology, Geophysics, and Mathematics from the University of Calgary. However, I work in health sciences. I've worked for Alberta Health Services now for almost 8 years, and I work in a specialty clinic. So, myself, I'm going into this as I am.
10 seconds.
With all my abilities, skills, my ideologies, I'm just going to be who I am. I'm going to listen to the people, help the people as best as I can. I'm definitely not a part of the political establishment here. I'm young, I'm somebody different, and I just hope that with all my skills and abilities, I will contribute that to help my people.
Okay.
And
Yeah. All right, so you can choose your first question. Number 5. What is your opinion on hiring off reserve for positions?
well, for me personally, I think that we should be looking at our own members first. I mean, a lot of our members, it doesn't matter if you have a degree or not, it doesn't matter if you're educated or not, we all have something to offer society. We all have abilities, we all have skills, and I feel that our first priority should be hiring people from our reserve, keeping in mind though that as we establish our laws, bylaws, we need to remember that we established sort of a code of practice and standards where things are completed to completion, and when you practice, you're following a set rule of standards and codes so you don't violate people's personal safety. And I think for us, we need to also focus on trades, because tradespersons, they play a fundamental role in our society. Without tradespeople, all we would have is just ideas on a piece of paper, and nothing would have gotten built. And we have a lot of people, talented tradespeople on our reserve. So, thank you.
Okay, great. Your second question? Okay. Have you worked with any kind of women's shelter or for women's rights within Alberta, and do you have any plans for the community?
I haven't specifically worked with any like specific women's shelters in or organizations within Alberta, but we do. But where I work with Alberta Health Services, I work in a department in gastroenterology and hepatology, and I work in hepatology and GI triage, and we have certain standards where we have to treat different individual groups of people differently. So we know that women, they have specific needs, and we're always cognizant, and we're always thinking about their needs, especially when we're finding a treatment plan for them. So in relates to that question, a lot of my experience relates to what I do currently, where I work. So, yeah.
Okay, you can choose your next question. Okay. Do you think Piikani should lower the eligible voting age to 18? Why or why not?
I think we should lower it to 18, just for the fact because it's the law really everywhere else. And if you're 18 years of age, you should be able to vote. And that's just the way I feel. I think we should harmonize our laws with everybody else because, and I say that because there's evidence, because there's been it for example, being treated equally. I said it many times before, and I think that the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, it's a very wonderful piece of legislation, and one of them is treating people equally, and we have to treat others equally. People should have full benefit under the law, and as its standards are now in society, as the norm is now, you're an adult at 18 years old, so we shouldn't discriminate that group of people. So.
Okay. Next question. Membership processes are one of the many areas that need to be updated. How are you planning to look into issues like members who don't have membership, those who should be on the membership but aren't, and former members reapplying for their membership?
Well, when I was doing door-to-door campaigning over this past week, I met with a member of Piikani, and she said that her daughter was a member of Piikani, but she married out, so she kind of lost all the benefits, and I think that's wrong. I mean, a lot of us were not completely Piikani. Take a look at my case. My mother, she's from Siksiga. I'm Piikani, so I'm half Siksiga, half Piikani. So, but I am from here. I mean, this is where I grew up. I had my experiences here. A lot of people from this reserve helped me out. So why should I get discriminated against? And I think we really should be updating our membership laws to reflect people's experiences, because everybody's not necessarily the same all across the board. Everybody's had different experiences. So I think we have to be a little bit open to going case by case also.
Okay, all right, thank you. Let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you have one more question.
And then we need to stop so we can plug this in.
Will we see a shift in funding for trades, and how would you go about implementing this?
Well, I kind of mentioned it before, and I think we should devote a lot of our funding, like there is funding there for people who want to pursue other things, but we should be focusing with trades. I think what we can do is we can set up some sort of, we can create agreements with industry leaders, for example, like people who do plumbing or carpentry, and we can ask them to maybe come in or offer some of their teaching abilities and teach other people, and we can create these programs that we can actually train and teach people specifically on the reserve so they can gain certification. I just think, for me personally, I think this is, we should be focusing on that. It's such an important thing in our society, for sure.
Okay. All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
My cord's short. I said we have to stop because I have to plug this in. Yeah, I have a real short cord too, so.
Yeah, when you speak, project your voice, okay?
Speak up.
All right.
Okay, you have a minute for introductions. You can go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Natanaku Spidakwa. Hello, my name is Rial Provost Tool. I'm a member of the Piikani Nation, born and raised. Walked these gravel roads, the wind, just like today. Dealt with every experience every other community member here has went through. My mom's sitting right here. Her name's Dyla. It's my mother. My grandfather was Albert Yellowhorn, and people knew him as Sigabi. And then my great grandfather was Yellowhorn. And my grandmother was Delma Yellowhorn, and that's the family that I come from. It's a pretty big family, and you know, going into this election, you know, I have faith that my family's going to vote for me. But you know, I'm not. I'm more depending on everybody as a whole to come together to vote for me, and that's
Okay.
pretty much who I am.
Okay, so you do have 5 minutes to answer each of the questions. You don't have to take up the whole 5 minutes if you don't want to. So you can choose your first question.
I suppose I get the hardest question.
Well, you came late.
Well, that's what you get. Okay. Do you think there are ways to improve safety along the highway for Nation members who hitchhike during the day and night?
Absolutely. Very, very good question. One of the questions I've actually been thinking of too. I think it's really important for vehicles to go slower through our community, especially the main highway coming this way. There's always people that are hitchhiking, and that's their means of getting around, especially at West Crossing. I'd like to see the kilometers go down to maybe 20 kilometers an hour, you know, and probably even maybe some better signs and people to slow down. And I want them to slow down for a nice stretch of our reserve. I would like to start it by, well, actually where the current speed limit by Michelle's old place there goes down and past West Crossing. And not only just for the safety of our people, but also for the economic development part. People fly through our reserve. You'll be surprised how many more people turn into a confectionery store or a gift shop or whatever when you go slower. So it does have its benefits, and if elected, I do intend to approach the province on this matter and get our speed limit changed to go through our reserve.
Okay. Next question. Okay. Do you think there's potential to expand the ranch and for the nation to farm its own land rather than hiring third parties to?
I think that's a question the last council battled with. I believe they do try to go into doing their own farming, and by nature, that's a good ideology to have, a good attitude to have. We want to be go-getters. We want to be go-getters. We want to do stuff like that. But there's, you know, in terms of a feasibility study, a leakage study, cost-benefit analysis, and determining if it's an organizational issue or a project issue, because there's a huge difference between organizational structure and project structure. I don't mean to use all these big words, but I do see an opportunity, you know, in agriculture. We have had Sproul. Sproul has come in and he's done, you know, has leased our land and farmed our land for many years. And, you know, I mean, it's good, but I do know for a fact that he was giving us an undervalue because he had a monopoly on our land. So the last chief and council took it upon themselves to go out and to do it, and it didn't really work too well, but that's a part of growing, and that's something that we have to understand. So solely leasing it out, that would be something that I think would be you know, beneficial for a conversation with the quorum that I have in council. But whatever, if we're succeeding and we're making money off of it, I'm all for it. That's what I'm here for, and that's why I'm running. I'm running to get us some more revenue, get us some more money. Not only that, but also I see a huge potential for Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo is a huge market, and Browning's doing it right now, and they got a lot of free buffalo, and they have a nice section of land there. I think it's about 500 plus buffalo. And why don't we have that? Why aren't we getting into it? Why are we trying to be cattlemen? You know, and a lot of us are, but it's so commercialized up until now. Buffalo is lean meat, doesn't have any fat. And, you know, we survived off it for thousands of years, so we're experts at it. So I say I'm all for the buffalo. That's, you know, that's one of the things I was thinking of at the ranch, especially.
Okay, thank you. Okay, here's your next question. Got nice long arms.
I mean, easy one.
Okay, what kind of transparency are you willing to offer to the community throughout your years or your tenure as a council member?
Well, first of all, transparency to me personally means honesty, and I've always been honest. I've been honest my whole life, and you know, it doesn't make a difference. You know, so many people use this word transparency and they use it really loosely, but to me it means honesty. And moving forward with that attitude is what I've always really been about. And not only that, but there's other ways to prove that we're transparent. And I'm looking here at my friend Adam Northbig here. He's really good at it as well. He understands it. And it's going on social media and telling the people through that particular way what's going on. And I see a lot from Troy Knowlton. He's always there. He's always telling people exactly what's going on in there. And if they got any questions for him, I'm the same way. And if you have any questions for me, I'm going to give you a plain, honest answer. And to me, that's what transparency is. So I think we really do have to use the internet is something that's huge in terms of communication and unifying our people. That to me is a big part of transparency.
All right, thank you. Okay, next question. You have two more, I believe. Okay. There are many community members and elders with disabilities in Piikani, many who are situated across the river where it's harder to access resources in Brockett. Do you have a proposal for helping these people access resources in hard times like winter or year-round?
Well, to me, my background is project management and carpentry and building stuff. And I've always said it, building all these houses that we have to make standard for handicap. All of our doors have to be 36 inches wide. We have to have ramps on all of our doors, and we have to start adopting the universal way of building houses to complement our older people who are in wheelchairs and in walkers and such. But not only that, but I've really battled the question of people going across the river and having to go through Somerview or else having to go through McLeod. And it sucks because they have to go all the way around. It's resources, it's gas, and most of all, it's time. When things take time, especially for our elders, it gets really hard. So I want to put forth an initiative to build a bridge. And I've heard this time and time again from past councillors, and they're campaigning saying that they're going to build a bridge. But when I say I want to build a bridge, I really, really want to build a bridge, because that's my track record, is building. Look at these houses in Brockett. Who do you think was the first one to go there and break soil and start on these foundations and start building? It was me. I'm not bragging about it, it was. It's a fact. And we helped boost this infrastructure in all these houses in Brockett. We also even, we did stuff to cut down procurement costs. Things like going to Pacific Homes to build houses. We had a huge problem with our procurement. Our contractors were running away with all the money when we give them the money to buy the material, and it was a dilemma. So what did we do? Well, it started with me, Barney, and Ferlin. We went out to Pacific Homes in Nanaimo, and we went to talk with them, and these guys were selling packages that were all in one, and they made life a lot easier. Hence all these houses that are built on the reserve. And I know a lot of them were tiny homes, like we have some small homes, and there's been people that are critical of it, but they don't know the next phase after that. And I think only me, Barney, and Ferlin are the only ones that really know the next phase. And that's to build additions onto these small houses. That's what it is. So just a little bit of information.
Okay. And I think you have one question left. Okay. What kind of outreach do you have in mind for off-reserve voters?
That's another really good question. We have 2 polls right now. We have the Lethbridge one that was last week, and we have the Calgary one, and then we have the one tomorrow. People are more than welcome to come if they live off the reserve or wherever. Do come and do vote. I'd really like to tell you that first and foremost. But I talked about this at the Lethbridge Forum as well, and we're moving into a paradigm. And what a paradigm shift is it's change in times. And right now, the internet is only about maybe 20 years old. We really have to start harnessing it. And a lot of people are leaning more towards online voting. And I think in terms of unification and unifying our people, I think that'd be great. Right now we have, everybody's addicted to their smartphones. We see it all the time. You're all on their smartphones, and it's their way of being connected. And I'm not much of a socialist, but there's a connection there, and people can always go onto the internet to vote, and that's something that I'm thinking about. And I'm just here for ideas. I love building on ideas, and that's what I do best. Is I like to build on ideas, and I think I would invite a lot of people for feedback on it. And of course, we'd probably have to go to a vote, but to unify our people, look at the last designation. There's a gas station that's supposed to be going up by the highway here. How many people showed up to vote? We had about not even 300 people showed up to vote. And how many people voted no? Almost 300 voted no, and then there's like 80 some or 70 some that voted yes. So are we unified? No, by all means. We have, 2,500 eligible voters, and we need all of their voices and we need initiatives, and we need people that are going to step forth and make the stuff happen. And if elected, I'm going to be that guy to help us get our voice out there, get us together, get us working together, stop dividing, work together, cohesion, membership. I see it every day, and I've seen it in all the places that I've worked here. There's potential for it, but I would say online voting, let's maybe make it a reality. Who knows?
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
I'm good, my arm hurts.
Herman? Yeah, there you go.
My arm.
Okay, Helen, you have 1 minute to give your introductions. You can go ahead.
Okay, Dixo. Gusto ko na ko ka suat si kapito. Okay, gaam si tu si kapito. Amo ko ka. Amo kit suit kapi ya. Ang mix ko kini si kapito kit tu si sawa. Good afternoon. My name is Herman Manygans. My Blackfoot name is sitting behind Eagle Tail. I come from the Gold Rush, or they call the Cattail clan. Not the house cattail, but maybe in our culture that's a very significant name that you're giving is becoming from your own clan. So that's where I'm from today. And the reason why I'm running, it took a long time to think about it. It wasn't a way that I could think that one day I'd say, well, I want to be a chief. No, it takes a long time to think about these things, issues. And everything that I followed was followed our traditional way of life, of Piikani. I followed that system. So I have to think about it for the future generation of our younger people. So one day I thought, it took me a lot of time to think and say, well, what do I do? Do I just walk away and be a self-centered person and only think about myself? Or do I come back because I was a previous leader and I had previous experience within politics of it? And not only that, that's why I decided to run. And I followed all the traditional aspects of running for a chief. I went to my spiritual leaders. I asked them, this is the reason why I'm running. I'm planning to run. And they told me, they gave me the blessing to say, well, you followed all the proper protocols of our way of life. Go ahead and go out and support the people. So I am here for the people.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay, so you can choose your first question. He'll be given 5 minutes to answer his question.
I was just going to say, these questions, can I ask the same questions to the elders so they understand the next week?
Yeah.
I just asked them some of the questions that are going to be asked in a normal dominant society way of not being honest. I told them about who we are as Piikani people. Actually, ski to the pianist. So matapi waka kistanda na ksake tsipo yo. Ago tu suko tistapi tsipo amusu daisuko tsipo.
Okay. What are 3 big issues you hear continuously on this campaign trail?
Awa ni asuko tsi sa amse yokskaya. Asuko tsi sa ya kaksis tsikui. Okay, kamaskay istayis sinod spi yokskast. Matapi yo istayis sinod spi kaksis tsikui. Sa kan sutui tsikatukas sa kaksis tsikui. So the question was given to me, and one of the main things are some of those really serious things about, everything we go back historically, from where we come from as Piikani. Things start going wrong at the beginning of our time, when we met the Napiweks. And not only that, things have never really worked out for us. All these things. So at the end of the day, it arrives to these 3 critical situations that happen on our reserve. One of the things, we lost who we are as Blackfoot people, Piikani people. First of all, we were told by our elders, Ekimotsi is one. But some of those laws we lost out. We're not very generous and helpful to each other anymore as family. Our ancestors, our great-grandparents, they're the ones that really taught us. You go visiting, they'll invite you to their house. You sit there and you listen to all these things, what the old people would say. So by that, we've lost that too. So one of the things today we do, one of the problems were, we don't listen to each other anymore. Maratai is one of the things that we do. So that's one of the issues too. The second thing I find that's really almost important too, when we were given our way of life, our spirituality was number 1. We never overstepped Creator in the things that we do. He gave us everything that we asked for. And something now that has happened, we turned around, we opened the window, and we threw that out the window. Now, without spirituality, everything that's causing all the problems that we have on our reserve because we don't teach it anymore and we don't practice that anymore. And that's why we lost all these things. So now it has gone further. There's a bunch of problems that lie with it. It goes right back to the time when we start being lied to by the governments. Not only that, when the residential schools came along, when we all keep moving along right to the 60s, school moved right along to where we're at today. We were hit in 1965, the open liquor, that was killed off mass of our relatives and people. And not only that, now we started with marijuana, and everything, and pills, and now we're in this addiction of this fentanyl stuff. And Tom, look at all these problems that are alive. But there's solutions to those through our culture. So those are the kind of things we've got to go back to who we are and what we are. It's already set for us. We're too quick to always be jumping on the white man's side. What failed us many times. We have to take control of who we are in all the things that we're doing. We've got to teach the young people. Teach them all these aspects of who we are, what we are. That's the only way we're going to survive. Because if we don't go back to who we are, continue to follow the donkey clutch, we're going to be going out the whole different direction. Our future generation will be lost. Get it?
Okay, thank you.
Sorry for taking long.
No, it was under 5 minutes.
Oh, it's under 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, you can choose your next question.
My side. I'm good.
And like I say, I was traditionally raised by the old people, so I know all the moral values about my duck.
Okay. What kind of cultural implementations would you like to see during your tenure?
Oh, that's the right question. Well, I live and breathe my culture. And the thing is that if I have the opportunity, my ancestors sitting behind Eagle Tail, going right down to White Striped Dog, all the way down to my grandfather's father, Saucony, Ninash Saucony, Patakaksak in North Axe, as says Grassy Water. All these people were leaders of our people. And their system that they followed and they developed their governance system, we survived. But today, that we were so involved and everything was just kind of forced upon us. The Indian Act was forced upon us. As says all these things now, the provincial system is being put on to us. Now they even have something to simulate us today. They have a policy that's right on the table to simulate who we are. What we have to do, we have our own laws. If the government can set up their own Indian Act policy with their laws that were developed by the senators in Ottawa and handed down to us in 1876, you know, if they could do that, and the province of people do the same thing, and where everything was already planned for us, was given to us, was set up for us, all our spiritual laws, the universal laws, the laws of our nature, nature of all these laws are there. What we have to do as becoming people, we have to go back to our roots. Those laws are already there. There's nothing tricky about it. That's our foundation of who we are as becoming people. What we have to do, everything in our culture, we have education in our culture, we have health in our culture, we have justice in our culture, we have our governance system in our culture. All those components are all in our culture. What we have to do is turn around and give everybody an opportunity. Give it back to Piikani. Some of our health systems are failing because we're listening to too much of the Indian Act and we're being dictated by that. A lot of the services that we have here on the health part of it are not working because they want their way. We have to set up our own governance structure based on a foundation of who we are and build upon it and write it in a policy that we all vote on it and say, this is the way we're going to do things. Keep it open for the future generation, because if they're going to make those changes, they're allowed to make those changes for the betterment of them because of who we are as Piikani people. Same way with the education system, with our justice system, our governance system. We have to go back to those roots and build our own. We will have a document of our own. We all vote for it, and that's how we're going to do things. on the economic side, look how many times have we lost. The bus stopped, we argued and bickered amongst each other, pretty soon the bus moves away and we lose out on these opportunities. But if we develop our own political system, our own policies that drive us, the bylaws that we're going to do, and we all stand